See, here's the thing. Hwangsin is a very aggressive style player. His Protoss is very 2-base oriented. He's known for doing that. That's where he's most comfortable. Zenio is a very 3-base oriented style player. And the big thing that goes with that is when I'm going 3-base, I saturate it pretty nice. But if I start massing up in units around 55 drones to 60 drones, we're actually ready to go into the game. Let's do that real quick. When I get 55, 60 drones, and I'm just massing up in just straight up units, I think I'm in a very comfortable position to deflect or get rid of any 2-base pressure. I mean, it's really, really efficient that the styles, I think, for Zenio just go his way.
Absolutely. So we'll see if that's going to come into play for this series. For now, let's introduce our players. In the bottom left, we have Zenio from Team Liquid, the blue Zerg. Looks like he's sponsored by Monster if you look at his decal there. The 3 little Roman numerals there. In the top right, we have Hwangsin, the Protoss player from It's Gosu, donning the red color. And of course, Hwangsin is your teammate, but you say that he loves 2-basing. He's trying to go for a Forge Fast Expand or some kind of Fast Nexus. He's
known for 2-basing. He has been able to really just change up his style quite a bit. He has done 3-base, 4-base, but dual site in general is very 2-base oriented map. And right away, we're going to see Hwangsin going for a Forge Fast Expand. Very interesting to do that on dual site.
Yeah, dual site is a harder map to hold the Forge Fast Expand just because of the dual avenues towards your natural. You have one that's even covered by shrouds, so having that little bit of dynamic, similar to Xel'Naga Caverns. I used to actually think the dual site was an extended version of that based off the avenues of attack.
Yeah.
But I'm going to see what Hwangsin chooses to do. He scouts pretty early also after the pylon to see what Zenio's up to.
Let me tell you, I love what Zenio is doing. Getting this gas is probably one of the most important things that people miss out on dual site. This gas basically says I can do Zergling run-bys. I can also do Baneling busts. And just the thought of that happening, Hwangsin will probably have to get a couple more cannons than he wants to. And if he doesn't, if Zenio does not go for some sort of run-by or Baneling bust, he will be forcing Hwangsin to commit a lot to this defense when there's nothing coming.
Just to give a little bit of statistics for our people watching, Hwangsin versus Zerg is 62.6%. It's a really high ratio, but Zenio's been tearing it up against Protoss, recently going on a 78% win streak. And he's never played Hwangsin, but he's beaten Mana and played some really good games at the IEM World Championship.
I know he really favors Hydras in this matchup. Zenio is a really interesting ZVPer. He has this weird style where he has incorporated a lot of Roach Hydra timings. That's really interesting. I remember his matches in the NASL against JYP, and he has some of the most interesting, some of the most interesting ZVP. He's not afraid to pull the trigger and really just fire away when he's up a base.
Well, we'll see whether or not Zeno chooses to incorporate that into his style for this game. For now, he's finally expanding. Very interesting retro Speedling expand build as he is done collecting gas. For now, Hwangsin resuming as if everything else is normal. I don't think Zeno is at least gathering to bust this kind of Forge Fast Expand. But on dual site, again, it's a little bit harder to hold. We'll see whether or not Zeno chooses to become aggressive at all.
I'm actually really surprised Hwangsin is only going 1 cannon at this point. I would actually yell at him for coaching him in this particular series. Yeah, 2 cannons. That's a lot safer. Look at what Hwangsin actually knows. He knows his opponent is on 2 base. That means Speedling, run-bys, Baneling, Zergling busts are very prevalent in this particular scenario. So why are you risking it? He doesn't even know if there's an expansion up right now. And I'm really surprised that we don't see an additional cannon.
Well, he is sending that probe to find out the expansion. And of course, that's pretty much the information he was expecting. Just wanted to confirm just for insurance purposes. For now, we see Chrono Boost being spent on his first sentry here. So again, Hwangsin being really passive. Now, this is the time of ZVP where Zeno needs to drone up a lot. Hitting that 58 to 60 mark you were pointing out, Andre. And from there, they have a lot of flexibility on what they choose to do.
Yeah, look at this. This is such an interesting hatchery position. The 3rd normally goes in this bottom middle, but he's instead opting to go to the bottom or the mid left-hand side. Now, what are the big differences? Well, creep spread is going to be a little bit of a problem. It's harder to actually connect your bases from the natural to the 3rd base like this. Not only that, he has a lot more space to cover. The pros, though, is that defending this third actually defends the main at the same time. If I have all my units gathered up over here, it's a lot easier to intercept, let's say, Warp Prism Harass than it would be to defend this bottom middle expansion.
That's a really cool point. I never really thought about that, Andre. And especially because you said it's more open at the third versus the way you can kind of trap yourself around the convenient third, the conventional third. Hwangsin will naturally go to the bottom center and be able to slowly push into there, but Zenio, having that expansion so far away in that open spot, we'll see if he's able to defend it. For now, he's placing his Roach Runner at a pretty standard time, around 6:30, 6:45. And Hwangsin, his transition is 3 more gates. And will he throw down a robotics or place more gateways down? That's a pretty interesting point of transition.
It'll probably an additional robotics bet. He's going to pressure off a 4 gate. He did the +1 timing. There's the robo that goes down somewhere. There it is. And he will be gearing up for some sort of pressure no matter what. It looks like a couple of Zealots are moving on to the bottom. Now, he hasn't scouted this third. He doesn't know that it's over here in the mid left-hand position. And this could be terrible for Hwangsin. He could actually think that his opponent is not going a third base. And if that happens, he's going to feel a lot more ahead than he should.
Yes, he thinks, wow, Zerg's going to be on 2 base. I just have to stay on 2 base, and I'll be able to go for a timing and forge around there. And Hwangsin sees no third. He's going to push up the ramp here. Zenio does have some Zerglings and Roaches prepared, but he's making a little bit more. Now he does have 1 Spine Caller, or Spore Caller rather, on the way. It's not a Spine. And the Zergling trying to go first round, but Ken wants to get a good position. He's kind of pushing himself up against the Extractor wall, but Zenio, for the most part, should look good to hold this off.
Now, Hwangsin is reading a ton of things from these Zealots. I like what he's doing. He should actually go into the main. I would love that instead of actually attacking on this Queen. Because he has... He kills it.
He gets it.
But now go up into the main, Hwangsin. Go up into the main. Because he saw the drone count. He doesn't know if this is just an all-in and all of the larva is being allocated towards getting a lot of units, or if this is, in fact, some sort of third all the way in the mid-left-hand position. Let's check Hwangsin's camera. He doesn't know about the third yet.
He did barely sneak a peek at the morphing layer, though, and that was enough to let him know. Right now, Zenio is teching. We see a second Evo chamber as well, so no doubt Zenio is going to get those upgrades in unison. Now, Hwangsin, is his Immortal trapped behind the mineral line?
No.
Is
it? God, Hwangsin, no! It is.
Oh, wow.
So unfortunate for him.
That's quite, yeah, it's really bad, actually.
Yeah, Hwangsin was doing a huge timing. I mean, this is a clear Immortal timing, and it's not going to work out. He has to wait for a Warp Prism, which, let's be honest, Warp Prisms aren't bad at all. I mean, they can only help. It's a mobile pylon that can do serious harass damage. It's one of the best units in the world.
Yeah, so for now, Hwangsin is moving out here. Now he's stopped pro production. He's going to go for a 2-base timing. Now he only has... he just put up 3 gates, so he does have 7 gates, so this is a pretty standard timing push from Protoss, but he is pulling back, waiting for that Warp Prism. When he does, the whole idea is Roaches and Zerglings are pretty much what you have at Zerg at this point, so the Warp Prism is pretty much safe unless you can keep it away from the Queens, and so hopefully Hwangsin's able to really engage with that, but Zenio looks like he's prepared completely for this push.
Yeah, and Zenio, like we said in the beginning, he likes to be that aggressive style Zerg. 62 drones, so just as we were mentioning in the pregame show, and Hwangsin might be running into a lot of trouble. He needs some great force fields. I like what he's doing. Be a little bit more patient, but he doesn't want to be too patient because those Hydras are incoming. The main thing you want to do is catch your opponent's units out of position. If you can get that, that's very good.
He does use 4 force fields to trap a few of the units, has to be really cautious, but he does have a lot of sentries, 10 to be exact. And Hwangsin's pushing in here now. Some critical upgrades are about to finish from Zenio. He needs to stall, +1/+1 as well as roach speed, but he's going to engage anyways. Force fields and around the entire vent here, and we do see that Hwangsin is safe for the moment, but Zenio pulled back an important upgrade are about to finish.
Yes, he still has a couple more sentry force fields up here. The engagement is starting to continue, but the sentries are now exposed. He can't have that open because now that the sentries are dead, he basically has to rely on his power of his units. He can't rely on just finessing it with these units anymore. Now the drones are coming in here. Hwangsin actually looks really good in this. Another round of units coming in here, and will Zenio be able to hold this off?
His Hydras are trying to do as much damage as possible. Keep in mind, the Immortal, one of them were exposed. and so he did manage to lose one of those units. Zenio does have 5 Hydralisks and Zerglings on the way, so he's stopping all Roach production, and of course Hydralisks absolutely decimate this entire army. Hwangsin kiting back as fast as he can, but keep in mind he's on creep, making him very vulnerable to any Zerg attack.
A ton of reinforcements are about to come up, but you know, Hwangsin did do a little bit of damage here. No drones are at the 3rd. That's really advantageous for him. If he can actually hold this and just stay afloat, he will be able to slowly gain that advantage. But right now, Zenio has mostly the materialization off of this one expansion. And here we go again. Another engagement.
Well, we do see Hwangsin only has a couple more force fields left because those sentries are pretty fresh. The Hydra's trying to get into battle, but for the most part, Zenio does have a pretty good concave, and Hwangsin is losing a lot of his units. The rest of the reinforcements from Zenio looks to be enough to hold this push. In fact, Zenio's droning behind this. That's how comfortable he's feeling right now.
Oh yeah, I think Hwangsin really overstepped his boundaries, and there you have it. Zenio cleaning up everything. Hwangsin down to 59 supply. Zenio just about doubling it. The War Prism goes down. Such a shame for Hwangsin. I really felt like he had a comfortable advantage. Just stay back, macro up, get your 3rd base, get a Colossus, and you're great. Hydras tear apart any gateway units. You need Colossus, and now we're going to see the counterattack. Maybe not even... No, Zenio's just going to back up from here. Really interesting, but I think he could have won right there.
Well, Zenio, he's still droning up at this point, also restarting some upgrades, so he does want to drag on the game a little bit longer, at least in preparation for it, and getting Groove Spine. Hwangsin going to the natural transition to Colossus, but he has no units really defending, just starting to warp in some sentries and zealots. But again, he has no options for aggression at this point.
Yeah, it's such a shame. I mean, Hwangsin had a great opportunity in this game to take out Zenio. And, you know, as we were talking about, he just overcommitted. It's such a shame because that was like the anti-timing, especially with all the sentries having no force field energy. That's a big problem. Here we go. Mass Zerglings and Hydras coming in here. Whoa. And against Zealots, let me tell you what happens. Not good for Protoss.
Well, we do see that good force field placement to lock out some of those Hydras, but yeah, those Zealots need to get within Hydra range to even engage the ones in front of the force field. Hwangsin warping in more Zealots. His Colossus not around to the battlefield just yet, and Zenio's not really cutting at all. In fact, he's just streaming more units. He's comfortable to take out the rest of the units. Hwangsin now backed into the corner, only has 1 force field, but not enough to hold off the Zerg onslaught.
He's waiting for the Colossus, but it pops up. GG comes out from Hwangsin. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a 1-0 advantage for Liquid Zenio. Really well played. I have to say, it was on a razor-thin edge, that particular game, but all in all, Zenio was the better player that time.
Yeah, you know, I think Zenio was just prepared. Again, those upgrades lining up was very key, +1/+1 for his Zerglings, as well as Roach speed. Hwangsin was on creep the entire time, just giving Zenio more options of mobility and setting up his unit's positioning.
One thing, if anything, I have to comment is, why not use the War Prism, not just as a mobile... Well, use it as a mobile pylon, but not your reinforcement pylon. Get another probe, put a pylon down, and then use your War Prism for some harass at the main. Draw units all the way over, and then attack in. I think that was a critical mistake by Hwangsin. He just got all flustered, trapping that one Immortal in, and all of a sudden he was in a terrible position where he was using his War Prism as a really, really expensive pylon.
Well, hopefully Hwangsin can turn around in this series to tie it up. We'll find out. Thank you so much to the sponsor of that game, Epson, for providing the projectors of brilliant image quality for NASL. We'll be back after a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Game number 2 between Hwangsin and Zenio coming up next.